Hi there, it's Ron McCracken, also known as Running Ron. Um, Wanted to just talk a few minutes about um, some things going on this summer. This is kind of a summer with a lot of grief, and I want to talk about, well, kind of what I do to maintain my sobriety. Um, Well, as if you watched my other video, follow me on Facebook or Instagram, some of you know that my dog Zooster died on June 13th, and that was a very sudden, unexpected thing. Had him for almost 10 years, and he was also my emotional support dog. Um, so that, needless to say, has been brutal. But on, I hope I'm getting the date right. I believe it was August. See, today's August the 11th. My friend Ron Little, who I often refer to as the other Running Ron, whenever we called each other, if I left a message for him, I would say I'm looking for the other Running Ron, or if he left a message for me, he'd say, "Hey Ron, this is the other Running Ron." Yeah, my friend Ron Little. We met at the Boston Marathon in 2007 on the buses out on the way to the start. Anyone who's run Boston knows the routine is you get on the buses at Boston Common, take you out to the start way out in Hopkinton, and you run back to Boston a couple hours later. And that was the year of the nor'easter. A very severe nor'easter hit on race day 2007, and they very nearly canceled the race because the conditions in the forecast were so bad. The forecast was saying it was just going to get worse and worse. But fortunately, the conditions eased up and we ran. Otherwise, I may never have met the other Running Ron Little. I got on the bus and he was sitting in the very back seat and there was an empty seat. I said, "Hey man, is it all right if I sit there?" And anyone who knows Ron Little knows he was just a super friendly guy. I would say one of those people who's a friend to everyone, So we, over the years, last time I ran Boston was 2017, April 2017. So I ran 17 Bostons in a row. Ron ran 10 Bostons. He ran a few more after. The last time I saw him was when we celebrated at McGreevy's Irish Pub on Boylston Street. We celebrated. Ron bought me a few beers back when I was still drinking. And we celebrated. That's the last time I saw him in person. And like I said, he ran a few more after that. Of course, things got crazy. There was one year was canceled outright because of COVID. Then another year was postponed, so on and so forth. But Ron ended up running 10 Boston marathons. So we shared a lot of great times up there over the years. I think celebrating at McGreevy's on Boylston, which was at the time was owned by Ken Casey, lead singer of the Dropkick Murphys. Kind of perfect place to celebrate. Little did we know that'd be the last one we celebrated together. Well, as I mentioned, Ron passed away on May 11th, out in California. He would journey to Boston. He didn't have a streak going like I did, but like I said, he ran 10 of them. Something I wanted to share. Actually, two things about him. One is that Ron and I were very, very different people, which I think is what makes the world go round, and I'm not sure exactly how to get into describing all that. There would be a 1 hour video, but just suffice to say, we were very different people. But we became great friends, especially as time went by. We kept meeting up in Boston, and every time we were both up there for the race, we at least a couple times, sometimes more, we would get together for runs, get together for lunch, dinner, whatever, go to the expo for a couple hours, and Ron would he would write these blog spots. He had an online, and if on I think it's just Ron Little blog spot if you want to look it up online. Ron ran hundreds of races, and he would often write a blog about it after. So he did all those Bostons. He wrote blogs, and one of them he posted a couple pictures of me. Well, a few of them he posted pictures of me, but one in particular that I remember, and will describe what I was talking about, us being different people. He posted a picture of me, and he introduced me as my unusual and gregarious friend, Ron McCracken, also known as Running Ron. And when I read that, it just really struck me. And that will stick with me forever. Because, and I was telling my therapist about this, what that said to me was he was conveying enormous respect to me. He was acknowledging that, hey, you know what? we're very different, but look, here's my friend. Here's my great friend. We really became great friends over the years. But I just love that, my unusual and gregarious friend. And like Cyndi Lauper, I'll admit I'm a bit unusual. I won't make an hour video to just get into all that. It'll bore people anyway, probably. But that was, and then he talked about some of my Boston accomplishments, my running accomplishments, whatever. But that was just something, like I said, that always stick with me. Also, and I think this was probably the same year, so we were celebrating at McGreevy's, and we met several of the local people. One of the local ladies that was celebrating with us that I started talking to, we found us a table, and we were sitting down talking about what we were going to get and everything. And I stayed at the table while Ron and her went up to, her name was Jenna. While Ron and her went up to the bar, we just decided not to wait because they were swamped. Went up to the bar to order drinks and food and everything. And they were up there for a good 10 minutes or so, and I could see they were talking a lot, very animated conversation and everything. And she wanted to know all about our Boston experience and how many Bostons we'd done and all that stuff, because like I said, she was one of the locals. And anyone who's been to Boston knows, runner or non-runner, the Boston people love their marathon. Here's my medal from the 2013 race, one of my most absolute treasured possessions. Well, anywho, she came back after about 10 minutes, and Ron was still up at the bar waiting for everything. And when she came back to the table, she started asking me, so how long y'all been friends? And I said, oh, this makes 10 years because we met in 2007, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, yeah, she said, I hope you know how good of a friend you have there. And this is where, when we find out what people say about us behind our backs. And I'm a little surprised I'm holding it together because Ron's death has been hitting me really hard. It hit like a freight train, even though we knew it was coming. He was diagnosed with a brain tumor about 1.5 years ago. I'll get to that in a minute. But she said, no, I don't think you understand. He was telling me all about you. And she said, I could tell that he has the absolute highest respect for you. And he loves you. And I think you should know that. And I mean, she was just emphatic about it. She went on and on for several minutes until Ron was almost back at the table, and she stopped talking about it. But that was the other thing that struck me, was just how emphatic she was. She was like, no, I don't think you understand that you got a friend right there. That's a true friend. And, I'm finding out, talking to other people, that I get the distinct impression that's how Ron was with everyone. As far as how he always made people feel good about themselves. He paid me plenty of compliments to my face too, but not like he kept it. But I'm just saying, he always made you feel included, always made you feel good, always positive. So it's really, I want to talk about how it's just hard to believe. It's just that he's gone. It was June 2022. He was finishing the Western States 100-mile endurance run, one of the toughest ultramarathons on earth, in a little over 23 hours. It goes from that to about six months or so after that, maybe 7 months, he was diagnosed. And then, like I said, a year and a half later, he's gone. And between losing Ron and losing Zooster in very close amount of time, there's not really a secret formula about keeping sobriety. It's being mindful. I have to just remind myself every day, because in years past, it's these kind of crises that made me double down on my drinking before I was sober. Constantly reminding myself of how far I've come, and that, in years past, this is when I would really start drinking heavy. That, and just not wanting to ever go back. Just reminding myself of how far I've come. And I just thought of this beautiful saying that I really love. I wish I could show you when you are lonely or in darkness the astonishing light of your own being. And I think I wish I could show you when you are lonely or in darkness the astonishing light of your own being. And, I was watching a video of Ron running the last lap on the track, on the track of that, his finish at the Western States 100 in 2022, which was not that long ago. And yes, the astonishing light of your own being. Ron was just glowing, finishing that last lap. You could tell he was happy. Dude, for a dude that just run and walked 100 miles, had a lot of bounce in his step, and all that. That's a big part of why you start thinking, as runners, as athletes, we start thinking that we're invincible. Something another friend of Ron's had mentioned. How do you go from running that, and not long after that, running a couple of 3-hour marathons, which is an outstanding time? How do you go from that to you're gone a year and a half later? You get diagnosed a few months later, and then how do you go from that? It just, I see I'm not the only one that has a lot of trouble wrapping my mind around that. But I have to say, Ron expressed to me how proud he was of my sobriety, He was a big cheerleader for my sobriety. He was really proud of that, and as Zooster was too. And it's a little bit cliche about the old cliche of they would have wanted you to, but it's totally true that Ron, being the positive person he was, wanted me to just keep forging ahead. And I don't know what that is on my neck, but pretty much every run now is motivated and inspired by Ron. Future races I'll dedicate to him. Right now, there's not a whole lot else to say other than I really, and this ties into my motivation of remaining sober. And by the way, going into, this is early morning Friday, August 23rd. It's going to be 5 years, 3 months, and 16 days sober. So it's that thing of, just like when Ron was running Western States 100 miler, or when we're running Boston Marathon, you just keep forging ahead. It's hard work. It's a grind. That's what you do. I have to admit, I'm just completely overwhelmed this summer between loss of Zooster and losing Ron. On top of that, it's just soul crushing. So all we can do is get back up, Boston strong and all that stuff. And it does motivate me. It will always motivate me. What that woman said to me about Ron's opinion of me. Man, that stuff, my mom would call that a God thing. So, rest in power, Ron Little. And Boston strong, you are missed. I think about you every day. All right, y'all take care. Reach out for help if you need it.